All right, we are back here on the Sky Guys podcast, getting a break from some Star Wars content coverage. We're going to have a fun little side quest here. We're going to talk about the history of Lego Star Wars here. It's been 25 years since Lego acquired the license to make Star Wars products, and it's been one of the biggest brand extensions for Star Wars is a as a property. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Phillips. With me, as always, man, his voice usually a narration every single week, but not really a narration for the Legos this week, Pete.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't think I can make like the noises of the bricks
Clicking.
going together, but yeah, no, I'm super pumped for this. Not that I don't like our episode recaps and stuff like that. However, it's nice to like break it up a little bit. So this is a nice little fun, short little podcast that you guys can listen to while we're in our break here between shows and I do love me some Legos. So I'm excited to see what you've planned for us today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nick Freya is not a big Lego guy. So he decided to skip on this podcast, but this is just the
Give him the night off. We sometimes we need it.
yeah, yeah. He's not a Lego guy, so we decided we're gonna kind of nerd on the Legos a little bit. Let Nick hit the beach a little early this week, but I mentioned here you can always subscribe to us on the Sky Guys podcast. Do so Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys here podcast platforms. What episodes there? And Pete, we're in the off season now, but we learned today we know when the next one's coming. So make sure you subscribe for all the fun stuff we're doing until then.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm sure you're going to talk about that in the news, so I won't bury the lead here. Or I don't know if it's the correct term, just spoil it. But yeah, make sure you're subscribed. We say it every week. It's free. It's mainly for you guys. We're still doing this every week, and we just want to make sure that you guys are getting the content. And because it's free, we always recommend it. So just make sure you do that, and make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms at It's at Sky Guys Podcast, right? Everywhere.
Yep, at Sky Guys podcast. We
Yep.
put clips from the shows every week. I mean, we appreciate you guys let us engage. Actually, on TikTok, you guys have been killing it out there. So go to our social media comment of the week here. This is from CC Hubs on one of our reels from the Acolyte here. And he says, Soulfall was in his heart. Unfortunately, that was the quote unquote wrong or bad decision. Good intentions. As a result, they could not reveal cracks in their order. Thus, the downfall began. This is in reference to Vernestra covering up the crime.
Yep. I mean, look, it makes sense. It's a good point. I disagree a little bit with the, wrong in quotes. I mean, if you're going to be a Jedi, you don't kill someone who's unarmed or running away, right? I mean, that's kind of just part of their code. However, I do agree with the comment, right? Soul's following his heart. He feels like he needs to do this and he needs to save Osha from the witches and stuff like that. So it makes sense. But I think that's what makes this season and this show so powerful in that sense. Not so much that it was, executed in the right way, but it's powerful that like you have human emotion in it. They're not just these kind of robotic Jedi that are just like, nope, we have to do it one way. So it's a good comment. It's a great point.
Yeah, great point from them as well here. And you can check out the YouTube version, Mike Phillips on YouTube. And it's a good week to be on the YouTube, Pete, because we have all the Lego props and stuff going on here. I got a lot just hanging out right here. We're working out here, including start with a little brickhead Lego Ahsoka.
Yeah, I have that one up top. I have I just finished the Razor Crest that's not with me. It's at my parents' house because they got more room. But I have a bunch of Lego Star Wars stuff that I could pull out if I was at my parents' house. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, you're not going to see my collection, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it here as well. And since Nick's not here, I will handle the news department this week here. We got a little light news, but we got some big stuff in here, including the big news of the day. This came out day of recording here, an exclusive interview with People Magazine here. Skeleton Crew, the show I've been waiting for about 2 years. It's coming on December 3rd on Disney Plus. We got an interview at the magazine, reveals that there's gonna be a new droid in the show, voiced by Nick Frost. Jude Law, one of the stars, described as a quote joyful experience. John Watts, the showrunner, says we'll be playing Easter eggs tying back to the original Star Wars films and some of the recent Disney Plus shows. So, Pete, your reaction to when we have a date for Skeleton Crew finally?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited. Like I was excited for Acolyte. I think there was some hype around the Acolyte. We don't have a trailer yet, so I mean, maybe there's no way to have hype for it. But it is a ways away. We do have a few months here. It's coming holiday season. I think we are talking about this offline. Do we know if this is going to be just a straight release or are they going to do week to week episodes?
I would assume it's week to week because it's on that Tuesday night slot. It looks like that Andor, that Ahsoka,
Mhm.
and Acolyte were both on.
Right. So I mean, interesting. Maybe it's just like a bridge to get us to Andor season two.
Yeah.
Because that's not coming till 25, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I hope they're not just pushing this out for the sake of pushing it out because they spent the money on it and made it. I'm hoping that there is some good content in there. Again, because we haven't seen a trailer yet, I don't know if there's much hype around it, but it's cool to get a release date.
Yeah, it's cool. We're gonna probably really find out more next week because we also know that is that Lucasfilm has a panel set up for D23 next week. So you would assume at this point you get more. I assume you get the trailer next week. You might get more like promo materials. Maybe you hear about the Acolyte. We don't know about that yet, but I definitely think you're getting that trailer next week.
Yeah, I mean it'd be a miss if they didn't have the trailer. I'm curious to see what it's about, what the trailer is, what's in there, if there's any sort of cameo that tries to get people hyped and interested in it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I know, that we heard this rumor last year, they were targeting it as a holiday show. So like they clearly feel like this could be something that gets the families interested in Star Wars together.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And the last thing here, we got an interview last week on from Entertainment Weekly with Leslie Headland, the showrunner of The Acolyte. She confirmed the theory we've all been talking about there that Plagueis is the master of Chimere in the show, and she has not revealed yet. She said she has not heard anything about a season to pick up yet, so obviously still making her minds on that. But reaction to the confirmation here that Plagueis is Chimere's master. This is something that is new to canon.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think that it's good. I think it's the way it should have been. I think if they try to do it any other way, it would just seem forced. No pun intended. I just feel like this was the obvious answer. And I think it really, really sets up a good season two and possibly three. I think that, and we talked about this too, and I encourage everyone to go listen to the season recap episode we did for the Acolyte. I think the right way to go about this is just to really focus in on Plagueis, Chimere, and Osha. And I think that if we can do that with like the peripheral, as I had said, for the Jedi Order and everything going on kind of there, I think they really get a good show. But we'll see, right? I mean, nothing like you had just mentioned, nothing's confirmed for season two. The only confirmation we're getting is from the director about what Plagueis' role in all of this is, because we only get about 3 seconds or 4 seconds of him.
Yeah, that's all we're getting as of now. But that's it for the news department here. And we will touch now on here the history of Lego Star Wars, which is what we are talking about this week here. And I know it's a fun topic to talk about, Pete, because most people, I mentioned at the top of the show, a lot of people have probably seen Legos in Star Wars, like when they go to the toy store, or they go to Target, like when they go on Amazon, like you realize here, this has been 25 years they made these. It's just a long time for this brand.
Long time for this brand. Lego went through its phases, right? I feel like when we were kids, Legos were becoming really, really popular. And I think the prequels were coming out. And I think that's when Lego wanted to really grab that license. And I think they did at a really good time. And you can confirm, I'm sure the book that you had gotten on it explains all that. But it's funny as we got older and Legos kind of died down for us. I feel like Lego also died down. I wasn't seeing much publicity for it. I wasn't really seeing much of anything like that. But then when we got older and Lego started making a comeback for us because we were buying them again and we wanted to relive our childhood, we start seeing these really, really cool sets coming out for Star Wars again. So definitely an interesting history of Lego itself. And not to say Lego was like going bankrupt when we were like, you know, of age where we weren't really building them anymore. But I think that this resurgence of all of us, adult kids, if you will, rebuying Legos, including myself, I think it's just made for so much cooler sets than we could have imagined.
Yeah, I believe the term that the Lego people can use is AFOL, adult fan of Lego.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
Yeah, so that's what's going on here. It's also, I don't know, because obviously Pete's reference here, they have a book out now. It's like a really thick coffee table style book about the history of like Lego Star Wars, the brand. It's like a $150 book on the Lego website here. It's really cool. They have like a lot of like behind the scenes like pictures. They have like development photos. They have like stuff initial events here. Like it's a really great read. I know it's very pricey, but like it's if you're in this niche, I think it's worth considering the investment because I think you get a lot of value out of the book.
Yeah, I mean, what kid's buying a coffee book table?
Yes.
What parents buying a kid a coffee book table for $150, right? We'll talk about Lego pricing in a bit, I'm sure, because I do have my gripes about it, and I feel like they need to kind of check themselves a little bit. And we'll talk about it in a little bit, but it looks like a really cool book. It's definitely geared toward us fans. The was it AFAL
Yeah,
adult
the A
fan of
false.
Lego? Yep. So look, it's interesting how plastic building bricks have gotten so complex and so influential in a lot that we do. I mean, I see a lot of adults going for it. Even if they didn't build Legos when they were kids, they're going for it because the sets are just so they're so good, right? Price points can be a little better. We'll talk about that too. But yeah.
Yeah, he certainly can get the price points I made here, but like a little bit of background how this collaboration came together because Pete, I'm sure as you're aware here, like when Lego was like first like coming up as like a toy brand here, like they didn't have any external IP as their like to sell stuff with. So like they're making up their own themes basically, and like it was all very kid friendly stuff. I know like you watched the Lego movie back in like what was it say it was like 2016-ish that came out.
Yeah, no, it was great. I love that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, like they had their own themes like Lego Space with Benny the
Yep.
Spaceman. Like they would have like Lego the Lego Castle, they would have like the Lego Firehouse and stuff like that. And one of the big reasons like why like like I in the book goes into like the Star Wars something that they always had their eyes on. They always had heard from like fans who like take random bricks try and make their own Star Wars toys. But like one of the challenges was like back in the day, Lego was like concerned about like the idea of like not using like these toys having like weapons on them and swords. So like trying to like make it promote like war kinds of things. The idea of war in the title, something that was like hesitant for them. But then the perspective kind of changed a little bit when we got close to the prequels coming. That's really when the tide turned.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And I think that it was marketed toward more so kids. And I think Lego back then was always marketed toward kids. I don't think adults were buying those sets, right?
Yeah.
I think adult Lego building has been more of a recent thing in the past decade, I would say. More so maybe in the past like 6 years, I feel like it's really taken off. But it makes sense why they wouldn't want that imagery in their products. Because it was for kids. And Star Wars was in some ways or another violent, right? It wasn't like a tea party, so I can understand it.
Yeah, and obviously they reached a licensing deal in 1998. The idea is here we're gonna launch with some sets based on the classic movies. We're gonna have more coming out in '99 for Phantom Menace, so we're gonna get bunch of stuff coming out here. A little fun fact you learned from the book. I don't know if you're aware of here. Like, when they announced the collaboration at the big toy conventions in 1998, like they sent out like to like some of the critics, people get invitations that builds up here like this little minifigure set basically inside a box with Luke and Vader on like a Lego like walkway recreating the scene from I want to say like Return of the Jedi here. And these things are very rare. And we saw an article 2022 here on Brick Fanatics that one of these sets sold for more than $5,500 at auction.
I mean, it was the original Star Wars Lego set. It's a collector's item, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even the all these sets that we build are collector's items. I know a lot of people they do like, you want to talk about the rule of two when it comes to the Sith. Some people buy two of the same sets, the higher price point sets, because they know once they retire, because every few years they retire sets because they're out with the old and with the new. People will sell them at extreme prices because they're collector's items at that point, because they are so influential. So, right now, I would say that set makes sense to be a 5,500. Maybe 15 years ago, it wouldn't sell for that. I think that the reason why it's selling for that is because of what they've built up in the adult collectible community as well. And, that comes from like things like baseball cards back in the day. My dad used to collect baseball cards, and now with us, it's not more baseball cards, it's Pokemon cards or Magic cards or even Funko Pops. So collectibles have become a lot more than just those trading cards, and Lego sets is now one of them.
Yeah, and another thing I got to say here, I was reading, I think their estimates that about 200 of these were made at the time of the promo, and no one knows how many are still in circulation because, like, obviously, like, maybe some of them got given to children of the critics, some of them, like, got thrown away. Like, So like, who knows how many's alive? And like, you read the article further, there's like details that say, oh, like this is obviously the first ghost. Not everything was like comically accurate. Like some sets, some of these got set with like blue lightsaber handles. This one is the correct green for the scene. So like, some of these things make them even more rare.
Yeah, I mean, look at the free gift of purchases you have now with Lego. I mean, those smaller sets, they're like limited run things. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's out there getting the themed ones, and keeping those sealed up somewhere to make sure they're good because those are really rare, right? I mean, usually if you're buying a set within the first week, themed ones, let's say the Fell Beast from the Barad-dûr set that just came out for Lord of the Rings, or even something Lego Star Wars related. I mean, there's a ton that is super limited release that could be a collector's item in a few years. We don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure here. We also had like they announced the collaboration. They come out with five original sets. Like they had the first five were based on original trilogies. They were pretty much all vehicles here. An X-Wing fighter, a TIE fighter and a Y-Wing, a land speeder, a snow speeder, and speeder bikes. And I'll throw up on this on the YouTube version here, like a shot of one of those first sets. So this is the TIE fighter and Y-Wing from this is the X-Wing fighter from the first run here. This is back in 1999. You can tell this is the Lego system era. They put Lego system on the box.
I had that set. I had that set and the Y-Wing set.
Yeah, so you got one, you got some of the OGs.
Yep. I mean, I don't have many more, which I'm kicking myself in the face about, but I did have the X-Wing, I had the Y-Wing, never had the TIE fighter though.
Yeah, so those were fun. Yeah, those were the some of the original sets that came out here. And then they put out another eight for Phantom Menace when it came out, and they basically extending the brand ever since. So a lot of fun stuff coming out of these sets, and like it's crazy. You look at like some of the sets themselves that come up here because like they set this license basically from 98 until '09 was the original license. They extended it three times since then. 2011, 2016, 2022, and then once actually four times. 2032 they have the license to. It's going to keep getting extended because this is a moneymaker for both sides.
They're not. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Disney in general is going to sell the license to Lego.
Yep.
Just Disney alone. Star Wars, Marvel, Disney products are all Lego sets.
Yep.
It's never going to end, and I don't think it should. I think it's the easiest licensing deal you can do is for Disney is Lego,
Yeah.
because Disney themselves have their own Lego store, which they've deemed Lego Land, but it's a Lego store with a bunch of like, it's a no brainer. They're
Yeah.
going to keep going, as long as Disney stays afloat, which it will. Obviously, they're going through some rough times when it comes to their movies, but I think that it's so easy. It's like, honestly, not to say give them a blank check, but it's like Disney, just give them a blank check and just give them, or Lego, give them a blank check and just let them say what they want. You get that licensing and you do that deal.
Yeah. That's for sure here. And over the course of this partnership between between Lucasfilm and Lego, they have had over 928 set releases over the course of this time period. And this is one for all you Lego fans. There are over 1,300 minifigures. That's a lot of minifigures.
It's a lot. Now, is those 1,300 unique minifigures, correct?
Unique minifigures.
Right, right. I mean, they've produced probably millions, but yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, fun fact for the audience here. I think at this point in the world, there are actually more Lego minifigures than there are human beings.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
It honestly does. I mean,
yeah,
just even from their like droid sets. I mean, the droids would come with like 15, 20 droids.
yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, and for people who are not aware of like what the minifigure is, who haven't seen the pods before, like this is like a minifigure, the little mini Omega here. It's like the little mini like Lego size person. I see Pete's reaching right now for one of his own that he's got nearby.
I got this guy. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but I have the
Yeah, you have the diorama there.
yeah, the diorama. It's gonna like phase in and out, but you got the Emperor and you got Luke
Vader.
and Darth Vader and stuff. So it's cool. It's
Yeah,
definitely cool.
yeah. And there's a lot of different ways they've built the sets also. So they've got like the diorama which Pete just showed out. That's a relatively new invention, you would say, right? The diorama for the Lego.
Yeah, oh, much so. I mean, they've gone the again catering to adults diorama. The I'm gonna I guess they're busts, but they're statues because there's a couple things that are not just heads, right?
Yeah,
But they have like the helmets. the dioramas, and now they're doing a lot of the, I'm gonna call it models, right? So you ever like did a model airplane?
Yeah.
You like built in, set up, and just sat there. They're doing a lot of those things with different ships, right? So I just did the Invisible Hand, which was General Grievous's ship. That was like a model-esque thing. It's just on a little stand and it shows it. They're doing that with Avengers now. They've been continuing to do it with Star Wars. But the dioramas are a cool set because you can, it's again, it's like it's almost like decoration.
Yeah.
It's scenery. You build it, it sits nice and it looks nice. And you don't have to worry about it being like, back in the day when Legos were being built, it wasn't as intricate. There was a little bit of harshness to the lines. It wasn't really a decor. It was more so a play toy and a play thing. So it's getting a little bit different now. You can actually display these things and it fits within the home versus just having it what it looks like to have toys all over the place.
Yeah, I know it's like something else. Is like the Lego Ideas line is very big on like some of these decor type ones. Like I have a set built right now. It's on display. It's like the Seinfeld apartment. They have a Lego set up. I built that.
Yep.
That's on display.
I have the office.
Yeah.
I even so much. I mean, Lego Ideas I think had something like they had the piano, the grand piano. They have, I think that's the Ideas line. They have a bunch of different things that are just again very displayable things.
Yeah, and those are fan created the Lego Ideas line. It's pretty cool. Like they'll put the whole process where the fans submit ideas, they make themselves, they get voted in, they get submitted to Lego for review, and if Lego likes it, they build the set, and like you basically get like a credit, like I think it's you get like a cut basically, like a percentage if you submit the idea and it goes through.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, look, it makes sense. There's so many people that build their own Legos out there to have a contest be made. And look, they're going to make tons of money on it, both sides. I mean, look, imagine you build something, you created, they decide to sell it, you make a little bit of money. Lego makes their money on the set for 3 years, however long it's out, then they retire it, right? So I mean, it's a win-win. I don't think anyone loses in that sense.
Yeah. Fun facts, some more fun facts here. The first ever mini figures for Star Wars were Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi in the Land Speeder on Tatooine. That was the first ones they were made.
So wait, so like, I'm gonna challenge you on this though. So you just showed us one of the first. Was that one of the first, or the first Star Wars set created was that Darth Vader Luke scene?
First publicly sold was the Luke
So
and
the
Kenobi.
Han Solo one was not publicly sold.
No, the Luke and Vader one was not publicly sold. That was given to collector, given to
Oh
like
God! So you're saying that the first minifigures that were first publicly sold was the Han Solo and Luke,
it was Luke and Ben Kenobi in the land.
Luke and Becanoli. I
Yeah.
apologize. Sorry, I'm saying Han
Yeah.
Solo. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We have also here, they've also done a lot of themes based on like obviously what the current films is. They've always they said in the book too, which I read here, they always try and keep stuff fresh from original trilogy is always be sets on the shelf and you overscore. You will always find something original trilogy related. They also try and like the prequels now are getting. I feel like Pete, you noticed they've had more regular sets in the prequels now that the audience is growing up with them, is getting old enough to buy toys for their children, and they have a wide range of set range. Seem like the basic ones your kids will build and like entertain themselves with and like play with and fly the ship through the air, and like the ones like the Ultra Collector series ones where like they build these massively intricate, like fully detailed things that you put up and you build and like put on display after you finish them.
Yeah, there's a plethora of things you can get. I mean, that this is marketing at its finest, right? You go in, you buy yourself a UCS, and you buy your kid the smaller one, right? I mean, it's a huge win for Lego. It's gotten me back into the hobby for sure. But yeah, I mean they have everything for any ages. Obviously the young ones, the super young ones can't. There's small pieces. There's a choking hazard. Like obviously don't buy a Lego set for someone who's under the age that it says on the box. But as long as as long as your kid or whoever you're buying for is over that age, you're good to go.
Yeah, and fun fact, did you know the Ultra Collector series actually started in 2000?
Yeah, with the Death Star, no?
No, the first one was actually an X-Wing. This is the Ultimate Collector series' first X-Wing.
Ah, yes. Okay. Death Star was closely after that though, no?
Yeah, I
Because
think it was
wasn't
like
it
a
like
year.
one of the
I think it was maybe like around 01 or 02 was when it came.
yeah. Because I wanted that Death Star.
Yeah.
Never got it though.
Yeah, and I know also, I think fun fact if like anybody who's watched like the Spider-Man the first one, like the Spider-Man No Way Home or Spider-Man Homecoming, that one, like the set that Ned's building, I think is like one of the is the UCS of the Death Star too.
Death Star 2, you said?
Yeah, I think it's Death Star 2.
It
Ned's building.
might is it the one with like the minifigures inside? Because that was like the
Yeah,
next UCS one.
yeah, it was
So
like around that era.
yeah, so I think so the one without the minifigures, that was like the original UCS Death Star
Yeah,
2. It was like all broken up. And then the one that like that has like the people inside was like another UCS one that they made, but it wasn't at the scale that you would think a UCS set should be at. It was
yeah,
probably at like 4,000 pieces or five, maybe not even five. But yeah,
yeah. And in terms of piece reference here, the piece count's a big deal in these Lego sets. Like the more pieces you have, the more expensive they end up being.
especially with licensing deals, right? So I mean, can we talk about pricing and what
Sure.
my problem is? So licensing, obviously, you got to pay money and you got to pay people for R&D when it comes to the Lego sets. What they do is incredible. If you even if you don't like Legos, go through like an instruction booklet online and you can just see the amount of work that goes into structurally make sure these things are strong, but also too to make certain shapes and curves and stuff. It's phenomenal work, and it's I don't know how the designers do it, and I give them all credit in the world. But let's just take two Lego sets. Two, what I consider, it's not Ultimate Collector Series because Ultimate Collector Series is only for Star Wars. Um, let's take the Eiffel Tower that they just came out, 10,001 pieces, and let's take the Millennium Falcon, the UCS Millennium Falcon. Believe the UCS Millennium Falcon is in like the 6 to 7,000 piece range. Can you confirm that for me?
Yeah, I'm checking right now. They have a couple of UCS Millennium Falcon. I'm talking. You're the most recent one, correct?
Most recent one.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, they got it's coded 10,179. Says 5,195 pieces.
For the okay. So the newest UCS Millennium Falcon, it seems a little low though.
I might have an old one. I'm trying to go off a Lego wiki here. So
I mean, go to lego.com. They're still selling it. You can go on lego.com and go to it and see
yeah,
the piece
yeah.
right
I'll
then.
I'll I'll, I'll fact check that while you're looking
All
at it.
right. So as Mike's fact checking that, we'll call it 6 to 7,000 pieces for the UCS Millennium Falcon, and then 10,001 pieces, which is the biggest buildable set to date, other than the map. There's a big controversy of what the biggest Lego set is. The Eiffel Tower is like 5 foot tall, 10,001 pieces, but it doesn't have the highest piece count. The globe map that you can get, just the full map of the Earth, is like
Yeah.
11,000 pieces, but they're just studs, right? So some people argue that it's not the biggest buildable Lego set and all that kind of stuff. The problem with it is because of licensing and because of the hype around UCS, the Millennium Falcon is close to $900 to purchase it,
Yep, I have that right now. I'm gonna put it up
like
on
860 or something like that,
yeah,
right?
849.99 on
849.
Lego.com, and it's 7,541 pieces.
Okay, so it's 7 to 8,000 pieces. So that's $640. Excuse me, $840 with tax. You're getting close to 1,000. The Eiffel Tower was like $630.
Yeah,
So it's not always piece count.
it's the
And I
brand.
think that's where we get in trouble a little bit with Lego. And I think Lego is kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to say that people are not going to buy it. I own the UCS Millennium Falcon. I paid that money. Am I an idiot? Yeah, 100%. But I paid that money because I like Lego and I was like, let me do it. I have the money now. I'm an adult. Let's do it. I have the Razor Crest, also an expensive set for the piece count you get. I also have the Lego Eiffel Tower. The build experience is considered. The Eiffel Tower is a daunting build. It's the same thing over and over and over and over again. Millennium Falcon is not. When it comes to favorite build out of the two of them, Millennium Falcon wins by a landslide. However, you are getting charged over $200 more for 2,000 pieces less.
You're paying
And
for the
that is
IP.
because, huh?
You're paying for the IP.
You're you're paying for that, right? And I think Lego has to come to a conclusion to say, look, we even if they have to take a loss, which they won't, take a lower profit because as we get older, this generation, and we start having kids and all that kind of stuff, we're not going to have that kind of money for Legos.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're in a fad right now of all of our generation that are like this kind of tight knit community of like adult Lego buyers that can spend the $900 on Lego. We're not going to be able to do that again.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you this, it is 100% justified in two Star Wars UCS sets as to how it's not going to work out anymore. Let me explain. And then we can go to the next point. The UCS AT-AT was priced at, I think, $800.
Yes.
That set is now retiring after a number of years. Why is it retiring? Because no one was buying it.
Yeah.
Because it was $800 for that. The Star Destroyer got retired because they were coming out with the Venator. So I understand you go from one starship to another. The Millennium Falcon is probably one of the longest running UCS sets because they're still selling.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that you can make UCS sets, but you can price them a little bit lower.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend price the AT-AT at $800. It doesn't need to be that way. I'm sure the price margin and the profit margin on it is huge
Yeah.
on those sets. So I think they're shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. Again, I think it's a testament to that time with the AT-AT, but the pricing is a little bit much, especially for regular Legos too. I mean, you go to buy a set for Lego Ideas and you know, by piece count it works out to be good, but like you think about it, it's a lot of money to be spending on a hobby sometimes.
It is a lot of money spending on a hobby, and that's something that you are obviously keeping an eye on when you do this stuff here. And like, there are a lot of different sets here. I mean, some of the different types here. Obviously, you got standard sets, the UCS talk about here, the dioramas, the helmets, the brick heads I showed earlier here, which is a lot of fun here. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's also a Lego art set where it's like basically like an art canvas where you basically like make yourself like a picture you put on your wall that switches between like Maul, Vader, and Kylo Ren, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's all retired. You can't get that anymore unless you go through a third party seller. So they have not remade any of that. They have other sets that are art sets. Star Wars has not made an appearance since that set, I believe.
Yeah.
So in the art collection. So interesting to see why. But again, maybe it wasn't selling that great. They're doing better on, like, let's say because they made one with Spider-Man. They just released one that's the Galaxy that I have that I need to build as well. So haven't had a Star Wars art thing released in a while. Same thing with Harry Potter. Harry Potter had the crests come
Yeah.
out. Haven't seen anything Harry Potter in the art world again. Batman came out in the art world. Haven't seen that again. So I mean, they're probably cycling through. Maybe they're trying to get through everything first. But yeah, they had Iron Man too. They had Marvel, I believe, at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of Iron Man. I remember that one too, and fun like a little fun set like fun activity here. I look at Brick Economy, the economics of Lego here. You want to hear what the most valuable Lego Star Wars set of all time is?
Valuable, like how much they were charging
How
consumers.
much it's worth now, like on the
The
market?
most valuable Star Wars set. Does it have to do with a minifigure?
No, I think it's based on this is a set that came out a long time ago and it's very rare.
A very rare Lego set that came out a long time ago. I'm trying to think of what they didn't make a lot. I mean, is it the Pod Racer?
No, according to Brick Economy, it is actually Lego Star Wars Cloud City is the most I
Cloud City. I've heard this.
yeah, from 2003.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this is the set, and we're showing on the YouTube version here. Like the value of this thing is apparently almost like $9,000. Almost
Yeah.
$8,000.
5 year forecast of almost 6,000.
Yeah, which is it shows you these things are very valuable.
Well, it's weird because it says regional retail price is $100. I'm assuming that's when it came out.
That was they were selling for $100 at the time, which you figure today is probably
Yeah.
closer to like 300 or 400.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts here, and like some of the other ones on the list here, like a bust of Darth Maul was the second highest, valued at like $3,800. Death Star 2 from 2005, that UCS one is about 3,100. Some other phone, the UCS Millennium Falcon, the original one from 2007 is about 2 grand. So like they have a lot of iconic sets that sold a lot of money. The one that Ned's making is worth about 1169 now.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And all these the point Pete said, they're sets that are retired. So like they just,
It's all collectibles. It's literally all supply and demand.
yeah. Supply and demand. And it's sort of like remember the Beanie Day phenomenon back in the day?
I think I still have mine,
Yeah.
actually.
It's the same idea, is that they
It's crazy.
retire them to make them more valuable.
I mean,
Scarcity.
yeah, if you're gonna do a collectible, you have to, because if it's still available, it's not gonna be worth anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we move on from the sets and some of the other ancillary stuff, what's your favorite like Lego Star Wars set?
So I think I think for me, it is the UCS Millennium Falcon. That set took me 24 hours to build, and it was intricate and it wasn't boring. Um, I just finished the Razor Crest. There were at times I was a little bored because of repetitious stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't get nearly as many hours for it, which was okay because of the price count, the price and the piece count. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a little bit too, about that experience. But yeah, I would say UCS Millennium Falcon is, as much as it's very expensive, it is worth it. It's 24 hours of an experience. So if you break, out $1,000 divided by 24, you're getting
You're bang for
a
your
little
buck.
bit. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the best. The minifigures were cool. They kind of played it to the new movies, right? You can do any the what's it called? The radar dish. You can
Yeah.
swap it out between what was in the new movie versus the old and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So they did a lot with that too. So I think that one's my favorite.
Yeah, I think my favorite build so far, and like I've not gone too much of the UCS. Well, I do have the 2023 Luke Skywalker X-Wing UCS, and I had a chance to build it yet. I did get that one, but like I built the not the UCS version, but the regular version. They put out the Razor Crest, and that the amount of details they put into that ship is a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my Razor Crest, the one I just built, has like Boba Fett's armor and stuff like that in it. Like, there's a ton of little Easter eggs in there too,
Yeah.
which is good. But yeah, I've heard that the small Razor Crest is also a good build.
Yeah, I also remember back in the day, like the original, like one of the early versions of Slave One. Like I have one of those like from like 2003, 2004.
I had one of those, and it was cool because they had they had it where when you rotated the ship, the seat would rotate so that
You sit
Boba
up.
Fett was in the right or Jango Fett was in the right
Yeah,
uh orientation. So that was pretty cool.
yeah. I have that one. I also have a couple of like the shuttles I still have floating around somewhere
Yep.
where they have the wings just fly to the side. Like
Yep.
the,
Yep. I had those too.
a lot of crazy work here. And this fun stuff is here is like I say they theme is what comes out here. So over the course of the run, they've made sets based on Clone Wars '03, the original Clone Wars, the Old Republic, the stuff, the video games, the Force Unleashed has Lego sets, Rebels, for like the sequel movies, Battlefront, Rogue One, Resistance, Mandoverse shows, Bad Batch, Andor, Ahsoka, like this stuff on Young Jedi Adventures. Like if you want something, it's there.
100%. They did not leave any stone unturned.
Yeah. Granted, I mean, if you want some of those ones I talk about that are long since retired, you have to go on eBay and pay a little bit of money for those.
Yeah,
That's
about to say you gotta dig deep in the pockets for that one. But honestly, look, if you're a hardcore collector, sure, but I don't think you even need to be. Just go to the Lego store and you're gonna find something you want, right? When it comes to Star Wars, there's so much Star Wars content in Lego right now that you can find something.
yeah, yeah, and like as Pete mentioned, as I mentioned before here, this is the first ever external brand IP that they licensed with Star Wars. So like that's led to Harry Potter and Marvel and
Or the Rings
Lord of the
just
Rings, all
recently
these.
started.
Yeah,
Dune,
yeah, Dune. Like, what would you say is number two IP for them? You think it's Harry Potter?
probably.
Yeah,
I would. Well, so when it comes to length, I think it's Harry Potter.
yeah,
When it comes to money, Disney might be the highest, only because Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel, plus they have their own Disney stuff. So I feel like maybe in revenue, their IP with Disney in general is more because Star Wars and Marvel is kind of in with it. But I think longevity, I could be wrong. Someone could fact check me on this. I think Harry Potter was the next major one they got.
yeah. Because I feel like Marvel is trying to creep up there, but I do think it's like Star Wars, Harry Potter, probably the two big iconic like Lego brands. It's like stuff
Yeah,
that
Marvel's a recent thing. I don't think Marvel's always been in
yeah,
Lego.
yeah, yeah. And Harry Potter, I feel like they were crushing it for a while. Then I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong here. They kind of dipped after the movies before Fantastic Beasts.
Yes.
When Fantastic Beasts comes out, then they've had a resurgence last like 5, 6 years.
100%. And I think they've had like a lot of like now Lego has an architecture line.
Yeah,
They have like they just came out with not just came out maybe a year ago came out with the architecture Hogwarts, which I have, which is great. You don't need to buy the big thing. You can buy this one for like $160. Again, not cheap. Not going to say it is. Not going to say it's not a big deal. It is. It's a lot of money for, again, a hobby, but you can get that smaller set to display. It looks nice. I mean, they have a bunch of different play sets for kids too. They have big sets of like the Hogwarts Express if you want. You know, they have all that kind of stuff. So they definitely took a little bit of a back seat. But again, I think when the movies ended, we were kind of out of the Lego phase, and I think that's why they stopped. I think they started doing this stuff again because we got back into Lego. Not to say that we're responsible, our generation is responsible for it, but our generation kind of grew up with the Legos. I don't know if the younger generation, especially with iPads and everything like that, grew up with Lego like we did. And I think we're the generation that's bringing it back for our kids and stuff like that. Because I think in between us, it was, I hate to say iPad baby. I feel like they were iPad babies. They weren't really building anything where they're just playing on the iPad.
Yeah, I'm looking at eBay right now, some of the original sets here. You can buy like the Land Speeder, the original one on eBay right now. Buy it now for 82.88, which is not a bad value for something like that.
How many pieces?
I'll tell you real quick. It's say on the box here. It says it's ages 6 to 10 on the box, and it says 47 pieces.
Okay, that's bad value then. Like 100% bad value.
That's like basically the nostalgia value. I say I want one of the first.
That's 100% collector value. That is not a good piece count value. I mean, that's $2 a piece.
That's eBay
Like
value.
really bad math, right? Really bad math. I know it's not $2 a piece. Please, people in comments, don't tell me I'm bad math. I know I'm bad math. I'm just saying, like, rough guesstimate, it's around $2 a piece.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just the sets for Lego too. We also have the video games. Well, they have a lot of Lego Star Wars video games. The original one came out in 2005. They did the prequels, then they did the sequels a year later. I mean, the originals a year later. We have the complete saga came out in 2007. They did one based on Clone Wars, the show, in 2011, the first couple of seasons. Then they did Lego Star Wars Force Awakens 2016. We got the big one, the Skywalker saga, which feels like development hell for like 3, 4 years, and they came out in 2022. So a lot of Lego
Yeah.
Star Wars games.
Yeah, the video games are super cool. Repetitive is all hell, though. I'll
Oh
just
yes,
call it what it is.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. I had my issues with with the Skywalker saga because
It's just, and it's not because, look, it's not because it's not good. I played the complete saga and I loved it. It's just like now you have another 3 episodes, and we did like when you grow up with it, right? You know how the first 6 episodes go in Lego Star Wars. You've played the levels. The levels have not changed. The only thing that's changed is the graphics and maybe collectibles that come with it and the characters you can play as. The only new things, if you haven't played it, was the last 3 movies that came out. So in
well,
theory, for
last two even theories they did put out a
two,
separate
because they did Force Awakens. So I never played the Force Awakens thing. So for me, it was 3. But anyway, so if you played the old games, you're just replaying it again. So it's just kind of just like, okay, we've done this. Like I get it. Like, and me being the OCD person I am, I want to do it in order. So I'm like sitting there going, through it, and the way that they did too was weird. It's through a menu instead of like the complete saga where you used to walk into different cantina doors and
Yeah,
that gave you the episodes and stuff like that and the different acts. Like that was cool. So yeah, it's good. If you haven't played any of the games, I highly recommend it. If you have played the games, you're not really missing much.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that game particularly I have an issue with is just like the whole. They basically made a fake open world kind of thing with a bunch of like stuff to get the collectibles that way, and basically increase the time you spend playing the game.
It's a grinding game. It's
Yeah,
not fun. Look, it's fun, but it's not at the same time. So
yeah,
if you
because
haven't played it, pick it up. If you have played it, it's you're not missing much.
yeah, because like let me put it this way: for anybody who's like playing it, like if you're not like a kid playing these games, like you'll get through the levels in about like 10 minutes at most, like or like what individual
Yeah,
level.
if you're just flying through them, 10,
Yeah,
15 minutes.
but then you have to go back and like, oh, I have to get all the studs to become a true Jedi. I
Yep.
have to find the minifigure pieces. I
Yep.
have to find like the mini builds and like, oh, there's a
Yep.
hidden character over here. Like they just hit the highest stuff in the levels. You have to go back and play them again.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's we haven't been doing the game front there, but they've also done a good job with Lego Star Wars, like little like animated stuff here. Like this actually started in 2005 with Revenge of the Brick that was on Cartoon Network to pump up Revenge of the Sith. It was the first ever computer animated Lego Star Wars short film. So that's a fun little piece of factoids.
Yeah, I mean, the media they've made with Lego Star Wars is fantastic. I love it. I take it as it is. It's like not the best content ever in the world, but like you watch it, it's funny, it's entertaining, you know. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that's like designed for kids, like specifically like the Yoda Chronicles is a thing that's like designed for like get children into Star Wars, Droid Tales, stuff like that. The Freemaker Adventures, like these are all stuff that like if you're trying to introduce a kid to Star Wars like very lightly, this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. Plus, they have these specials they put out like on Disney Plus since Disney like got the property here. Like we haven't covered the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special yet. That was came out 2020. That was fun. We covered the last couple of years, the Terrifying Tales in 2021 and Summer Vacation last year in 2022. So like those have been fun little hour-long shorts, sort of like they're good. They're good mix for like they get the kids and they have enough jokes in there for the adults to hang on.
Exactly. That's 100% right. And if you like Lego, you'll enjoy it too. I
Yeah,
mean, even the Lego movie, the Ninjago movie, like all those Lego Batman, they're all funny.
yeah.
They're all enjoyable. So yeah, highly recommend them.
Yeah, and the last thing here, we have something new coming like a couple about 2 months from now here, 11 and a half is Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. And this is like we're gonna cover on the podcast and like after our next thing, our next two things. Like it's a lot of fun because this is sort of like Star Wars dipping their toe into the what if world here, which is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's good. Lego's coming out with like a what if set, I think, you know, the
They have
Dark
several.
Millennium Falcon, and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's definitely gonna be cool. I'm excited to watch it and talk with you guys about it.
Yeah, let me just say for the people who are unaware, Darth Jar Jar is coming.
We finally get them. It's just it's Star Wars Lego canon, not Star Wars canon.
Yeah, Lego Star Wars canon. You see, maybe it inspires them. If this does well, maybe they'll actually make a Star Wars what if kind of thing.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a good gateway to it.
Yeah, and the set that Pete mentioned, I'm gonna pull it up on I have the Lego website still up. I'm gonna go back here. They have the Dark Falcon coming up here, which is
Ah, that's what it was.
yeah, I'm gonna pull up here, I'm gonna show it on the YouTube version. This is a set that's selling for $180, about 1,579 pieces. So Pete, how you feel on the piece to dollar scale?
Um, Again, you're paying for a license, but it's not the worst priced thing I've seen.
Yeah.
It is kind of up there for that piece count, but again, licensing is a huge thing.
Yeah. And the other thing you note here with these things, you look for the minifigures too, because the minifigures they put with the sets are a big deal. Like 25th anniversary, they've been throwing special minifigures in sets also to try and
What I
like goose up sales.
what I find hysterical, Darth Dev.
Yeah.
Who's Darth Dev?
I think he's a character for this rebuild the galaxy, like
Go
proper.
up, just go up. I think it's Darth Dev. Just go up on this on the screen.
Yeah.
So look
Uh,
at the guy next to C3PO.
yeah.
He's got binoculars with lightsabers coming out of him.
No, I think that's the supposed to be Darth Ray
Right, but
because they
it's
mirror
it's
that.
using binoculars.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny.
Yeah, that's how Legos in create. They use these pieces multiple different ways to create multiple different things.
Yeah.
It's that she's using that dual saber they used in Rise of Skywalker in the in
Yeah.
the in the vision.
Yeah.
We got Darth Jar Jar there. We got Jedi Vader in white. That's gonna be an interesting look also.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a set that's coming out here. And like the minifigures are a big thing. It's like that's the collectible thing. Like we
Yeah,
saw
those minifigures for sure are going to be like people are going to buy those sets just for that because like
yeah,
where are you going to find a white Darth Vader minifigure? Like it's never going to happen other than that set.
yeah. Plus, I'll also point out to people, you want like a quick entryway into Lego Star Wars, like get the advent calendar at the end of the year. Like it's like
Yeah,
$40. You get 24 little mini builds. It's pretty cool.
or you could do brickheads. I mean, they're like $10 a pop. That's probably a great like value set if you don't want to spend a lot. You know,
Yeah, because I feel like the smallest sets, they're not brickheads, probably what, like you said, like 20, $30.
you could probably get one for 15.
Yeah,
And you
depending.
probably get poly bags for like 10.
Yeah.
And poly bags, I mean like literally the plastic bag sets. They're not in a
Yeah.
box.
Yeah, for example, I have a Harry Potter poly bag set here, which I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the screen. I have like this one I haven't built yet, but it is
Yeah,
the
it's clipping in and out, but you guys get the picture.
yeah, that's the bag. So that's what's that's some of the stuff here they got going on here. And excited to see the future of Lego Star Wars. Obviously, like we know if there's Skeleton Crew products coming, we just got teased this year. Like you wonder, like with some of these other properties, especially now that they got movies coming to theaters again, like Lego's gonna be on a high kick.
I mean, they did Stranger Things. I wouldn't be surprised if they did a Last of Us. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they venture in because they know adults are buying it, maybe like
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, or maybe even, dare I say, The Boys
Yeah,
on Prime, even though it's a very adult show. And I don't know if they want to market that to
yeah,
kids if they see, like, dad building a boys set, like, oh, I want to watch that show. So I can understand their hesitancy from doing that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of different properties that they can work with. I mean, it's I'm surprised we haven't seen a true Deadpool set yet.
yeah. I'm talking about Star Wars specifically though, like because then we have
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, because we have like a couple movies coming up here, and like there's also I'm sure they have stuff in the vault they're still getting around to because like I don't know if you saw. Remember last year they released the set about the Yavin Starbase, like the Yavin
Yes.
Temple. I
Yes.
look at the book here. That's something that they've been kicking around since like the early 2000s. They just got to it this year.
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's a ton that for Star Wars. Sorry, I went on a tangent there earlier. There's a ton to look forward to. And I think, I think they're going to take the Razor Crest out of they're going to put the Razor Crest into retirement for something else.
Yeah,
And I don't know what it's going to be, but I hope it's something like the Star Killer base or like something like crazy big. Like
I
I feel
feel
like we
I
need a big set from them at a decent price.
I feel like we're overdue for another Death Star. I think we haven't had the Death Star in about like 8 years.
Death Star, or even like I don't know what would be a big set that they could do. Honestly, now that I think about it, but there's options. You can figure it out.
Yeah, because I think you either go something like prequel related, like maybe you're getting like some like I know they did the big gunship like model around like a couple of years ago. Like that's something they could do from the Clone Wars. Like I think we're getting a Death Star soon. I think we're due for one of those.
I see. I don't know because they already did two Death Stars. I don't know if they're gonna maybe like I said, Star Killer base,
Yeah, that could be
but
that could be one too. Maybe you're getting like I'm trying to think of like something
like
like
Kylo Ren minifigures, the the First Order officers, Captain Phasma, like stuff like that. Like they've shown up. It's not like they haven't done it before.
yeah, like I also feel like if Last Jedi wasn't so polarized, maybe you get like an Octo diorama.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pete, there's certainly a lot of fun to talk about here. It's definitely a lot of fun going almost an hour on Lego Star Wars here. So we really got into the weeds, but I did think it was an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah, and really quick before we end, so I talked to you guys offline, and we kind of mentioned it here. I just did the UCS Razor Crest. It was a good build. At times a little bit daunting, but it was still a good build. So just to give you some numbers, the total build time was 13 hours, 53 minutes, and 52 seconds. So I literally sat there per bag and timed how long it took me to do per bag.
Yeah.
Each bag was pretty short. The longest bag, which was bag number 15 for me, was 40 minutes and 56 seconds. So just shy of 41 minutes for that bag.
Wow.
Um, now, when I say bag, I mean bag number 15. There was only one bag. Sometimes there was two or three bags with the numbers. This was one bag. It was a little more intricate. Maybe I got a little distracted too, so it might be a little inflated. But that was the longest bag time wise, and it took me about 13 hours, which is a full 11 hours, or let's call it 10 hours less than the UCS Millennium Falcon. So definitely price point jump makes a difference there.
Yep. So it's got now for our Lego Star Wars conversation here. We'll be doing like Rebuild the Galaxy in the future, but just so everybody knows, we are taking a little bit of a hiatus on our actual recording, but we are not leaving without podcast. We did pre-record some stuff here because Pete, remember back in January we did Micro Month?
I do.
Yeah. We were gonna do a whole micro month with Max Roberts going through Clone Wars '03 and Force of Destiny, but then Disney kept throwing stuff at us and saying, "Oh, here's Bad Batch season 3.
Yep.
Here's Tales of the Empire. Here's Acolyte." So
Acolyte. Yep.
yeah, so like now we have enough of a break. Skeleton Crew's not coming till December, so micro month is finally here. We did record
Yep.
these with Max in advance, so there will not be any news. But the next month you're gonna get like a season of a micro show recovery here. Starting next week, you, me, and Max are back for Clone Wars '03 season 2.
Listen, we're gonna wrap up the summer with some micro month stuff, so it's gonna be pretty cool. So I'm excited for those to come out and for you guys to listen to them.
Yeah,
It was definitely experience.
Yeah, they've been hiding in the vault for a while. So now they're
Yeah.
finally get see
We
light.
we retired them to make it more rare.
Yes. They're coming out of the vault for a limited time only.
Then they're going back in the vault.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pete, once again, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it. People want to follow you on social media. How can they do that?
So me is at Concy29 on Twitter, CONSY29. AP Tyler 308 created this background. Make sure you follow all of us on socials. Sky Guys Podcast everywhere: Twitter, X, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yep. You can also follow me on social media at mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS 331. This is over the Just on the Suffering podcast. We got you ready for Giants training camp. We did a Giants comp chat with Jerry Foley from the Giant Insider podcast. And our friend Nick Ferreira showed up there to recap the finale of Hard Knocks offseason. So Nick went over the other podcast this week.
As a Jets fan, I can't say I was following it, but I'm definitely excited to hear it.
Yeah, so Nick was there. Pete's here. We'll be back next week. Me, Pete, and special guest Max Roberts to cover Micro Month, Season 2 of the Clone Wars. Again, remember, recorded in January, so there's not going to be any news on these podcasts. It'll just be randomly bad batch predictions. That's because you're going to get instead of the news. But until then, may the Force be with you.